GM, everybody, give me 2 seconds to share the stream first, and then we can quickly start. Okay, GM, everybody. Okay, GM. GM, everybody. Welcome to our today's stream. As we mentioned 2 days ago already, we do some hackathon specials for you that you can understand what our products are and have an open ear for all the problems that you might have during this hackathon time. Today, for me, is a very special day because for those who know me already, they know I really, really like blinks. And today, I'm allowed to talk about them, and this is great. So for those of you who don't know me yet, first of all, welcome to our live stream. Over the next few weeks during the hackathon, we will have at least twice, Tuesdays and Thursdays, a live stream in which we teach you a bit more about our products, the blinks and the alerts. And then about myself, my name is Bjorn. I do developer relations for Dialect Labs. And at Dialect Labs, we really focus on products that are for Web3. So imagine you want to onboard your users, you want to give them a nice user experience, you want to grow their retention and bring them back into your app, or maybe you just want to unbundle a product experience. Let's say you have a really cool service and you want others to integrate this service right into their website, tech stack, whatever it might be. This is the stuff that we do, and this is the stuff that we deliver. And especially the second part that I just mentioned, the third-party integrations, the nice UX. This is what we talk today about because this is Blinks. To start off, I will show you a few slides, not too many, I promise, but just as a starter or maybe as a refresher if you don't know Blinks, because I really want to try to shift your focus today from Blinks as something that exists only on Twitter/X to, oh my God, Blinks are great and I should build my APIs with Blinks. So let's see if we can make this happen today, this shift. Let me share my screen really quick and give you a few introductory points about Blinks. As you might already have heard, Blinks mean blockchain links, and many of you who have been in touch with Blinks already might have seen something like this. In the left side, what you see is a link preview. This is basically what always happens if you post a link on a social network. And on the right side, you see what happens if you post a blink, let's say on Twitter. And I actually go through those examples because I think this is the most familiar ones, and then we can have some common ground on blinks, what they are. The thing between the link preview, and the blink, as you can see here, is that the blink not just comes with a title and a description and a picture, it also comes with a let's say smash button or with a text input field so that a user immediately can take action, which means the user does not have to go to your website again, sign up and do all those nitty-gritty things that just, draw them away. And at some point you just lose them and they don't do what you actually expect them to do. With the blink, this one click already is the action. So your users out of the sudden are just one click away from this thing that they want to do. And maybe you have seen this already. This is where we come from. Blinks right in Twitter. Many people enjoyed this feature already. So it is really natively in your feed. You scroll through it, it unfurls, you can do any action on it. And this is also what most of you saw. And blinks are very different. There are blinks to swap tokens, for example. There are blinks for minting NFTs. There are blinks to vote in a governance vote. Let's say if you are a DAO. There are even blinks to subscribe to a service. Imagine just everything that you can build on Web3, I would say, can more or less be built with a blink, at least this transaction. And exactly here is where the blinks become really handy. So imagine now you are building your Web3 app. Most of the time, you would build a transaction in the front end of the computer from the user, which in the end means you have to ship all the SDKs and all the necessary stuff right into the client from your user, which means in their browser. This makes your service very slow. This is a lot of, let's say, duplicated code. Imagine now a person likes your service, likes what you build, and now they want to integrate you into their website. Well, normally what happens in the next step is they have to use your SDKs that you have to provide, of course. They have to integrate it. You have to cross all the fingers that you have that these people don't do something wrong. Let's say you are the person who designed the service, so you know best how a transaction should look like, but not everyone designed your service, of course. So not everyone knows how to build this right. And then in the end, in the worst case, it can even be a very shitty user experience, even though you didn't do anything wrong. On the other hand, with the blink, all you do is you send a transaction to the front end, which means all those SDKs, all the logic, all the fallbacks, the error handling, all the stuff that could make this, let's say, user experience bad for a user, and in the end shine a not so nice light on your side, even though you didn't do anything wrong. With the blink, you build a transaction, which means you are in control. You can kind of make sure that this user experience to a very, let's say, far point is in your hands still. And because if you change something in your service, it does not really mean that everyone has to upgrade their SDK, do all those changes. In fact, you can do this from your one single endpoint that you host, and then this API just sends again the transactions. But all the stuff that you would change, maintenance, and so on and so forth, this is all handled by you, which makes it amazing if you're a Blink provider, meaning a person who builds Blinks. So the idea now is, yes, we know normally if you integrate something, you have a SDK, you learn the SDK, you implement it in your website gets more and more heavy the more SDKs you implement. And now the paradigm shift that I try to make in your head is that you can prevent this. You can prevent it because in Web3, almost everything that you do is a transaction. And if you can build this transaction in your backend and provide a safe, let's say, environment that knows how to build this stuff, others, all they have to do is they have to get the URL to this Blink and can integrate it within seconds. And how this works is what I'm going to show you soon. But first of all, let me just come back to what we just saw. The first thing that we saw is a Blink is on Twitter, but you already see here, for example, this is Backpack. I will also show you later how it looks in a live demo. They also got it, and they also integrated Blinks right into their wallet. Why? Well, because it's easy, right? Imagine you are a wallet and you want to do a staking or a lending. You don't have to learn all those services. All you have to do is you get their Blink URLs and you just implement them. It's a super fast and easy way. And those projects themselves can update and maintain the API so that you don't have to. And it's all done through our client. We get to this in a few minutes, but it's really the thing that you should think of. Like on the left side here, you see, for example, a few lines of code if you want to implement Jupyter for a token swap. And on the right side, you see how this whole thing would work with a Blink. And what you see is you have a URL here that has params. In this case, it's Sol and Bonk, and it has an amount, 0.1. And with those three params, it knows, okay, I want to swap Sol against Bonk, and the amount I want to swap is 0.1 Sol. And the next step, all you have to do is you do a regular fetch, super basic JavaScript standard, and you tell it this should be the post endpoint, and you give it a public key as account. And we will see that this pattern is for each and every Blink. So it's super, super standardized once you see it. And what it will return you in the end is a transaction. And this transaction is all you need to sign. And what we saw with this UI before is if you use a UI to do it, let's say on Twitter, or if you implement this Blink client that we provide into your website. But you also can do this from a CLI, through an AI agent, for example, on all the good stuff. Because in the end, all you need is a transaction that's ready for you to sign. And this is exactly what a Blink provides. So instead of thinking of all those SDKs that you're going to build so that people can integrate, why don't you just think about building a Blinks provider, like an API that just people can use? And this API now sends you a transaction, and this transaction can be used like everywhere where there is a wallet that can sign it. And this is the claim: write once, distribute everywhere. Okay, enough with the slides. Let's now do a little example that you can understand what we do. And I really want to start with this example. With something really easy. Let's go to our docs. We have docs. It's called docs.dialect.to. And I said before, we are talking here about transactions. And this whole stuff can already run fully headless. So you don't need let's say, a Blinks client and all that stuff. All you need is a curl command, and you can already do nice stuff with it. So what I want to show you here is, let's see how we can use Blinks and integrate them in a headless way, which means we don't use our client, we just use like super standard tools. To do so, we go to our documentation. Again, it's docs.dialect.to. And what you do is you click on Blinks. And on our documentation, we have two parts. One part is the client. The second part is the provider. Provider is the part where you would say, I want to write my own Blink. And we also have tutorials about this. For example, here, this one is build your first Blink. But what I actually want to show you today is I want to go with you into the client section, because this is how you can integrate an existing Blink. Because remember, all you need from now on is a URL. You don't need to write all that stuff your own. So let's click here on integrate, and let's say headless integration, and let's go to the get request. And for the get request, what you see here, this is just a curl command, right? So let's just, go with the flow. Let's copy this command. It's actually from the staking Blink from Jido. And let's open our terminal. Let's maybe do this font a bit bigger. Maybe even this window. It's a bit bigger. All right. And then let's just start with our first command. So we said this is a curl command. So we just take a curl. Let's do a JQ with a pipe and see what happens. Okay. What you see here is actually your blink, at least the representation of the blink from the visual part. If you build a blink, normally what you do is you have two endpoints that are very important for you. One is a get endpoint, and the second is a post endpoint. What we do now in the first step is a post get endpoint. Because the get endpoint, what it does is it sends you back a JSON object, and this JSON object can be used to render a UI. So in our case, what we just did is we used the URL for the G2 stake blink. And what you see here is it gave us back a JSON object from the get command. So you see it has here an icon. The icon, for example, is an image. So if you click on it, you see this is basically the image of the blink. And it has a label. It says convert to G2 Soul. It has a description. And it has here this links.actions array. And there you see that there is 1, 2, 3, 4 entries in the array. And these entries are the buttons of your blink. So you see here there's a label called 25%, 50%, 100%, and then there is a custom amount. And you can think of this JSON object like a construction for our Blinks client. So based on this JSON object, our client knows how to build it. So to test that, we can just, let's say, go to dial.to. This is a website that we host. And on this website, by the way, you can find many, many other blinks. So almost any blink that was built is somewhere here. Today, my internet is super slow. I don't know why. I already say sorry for that. But as you can see here, there's many blinks that were already built. What we are interested in, though, is this little line here. So if we go back to our curl command, we had this line that we were fetching the post request, the get request. If we now put it in here and we say submit, what you can see is that we now get our whole blink rendered right here. And it has exactly the same things that we have. So the title here is stake sold to earn 8% APY. So here's the title, stake sold to earn 8% APY. The image, we just opened it, is this one. And it's like the same that we have here. And the buttons, 25, 50, 100, we also see them right here. The next cool thing that I want to show you is that these come with the href, and the href in the end is the endpoint. So this is basically your post request. So at any point, if you can get a get and in the future and you don't know what a post route would be for it, well, it's this one, that one. And what this post route does is it sends us a post request back. We will get to this later. Another blink that I would like to show you is the Jupyter blink. So let's imagine we want to integrate a Jupyter swap into our website. I think many of you might want to do this. To do so, I want to show you a nice tool that we have. It's called terminal.dial.to, and we start onboarding people as we speak. So don't forget to put your email in here if you want access to it. And if I click on the get started, I'm already logged in. You see here our standard links library, and you find Jupyter right here. And if I click on Jupyter, I say swap. I can already see the Blink API URL in the terminal right here. So if I want to implement a Jupyter swap on my website, for example, all I need is this little URL here. So let's say we want to see how this would look like. In this case, we also do a curl command. Let's clear this thing up a bit. We do a curl. and then we say swap. And then very important, what you can see here is we do have sol-bonk. This is the trading pair. So I could also change this, but I'm not gonna do this here. I do this in the terminal, terminal, in my warp, and I say sol-USDC, and let's give it again a JQ, and then it's curl and curt. And it also gives me a GET request back. And this GET request, again, it is the very same that we just had on our G2 link. I can again go, let's say, to our dial.to, and you see, boom, it opens it. And it says now buy USDC. And it's actually pretty cool if you think of it, because the blink here says sol bonk, and it says now buy bonk here, because bonk is obviously my trading pair. But because we decided to say sol-USDC, it is smart enough to understand, hey, this should be a swap from sol to USDC. And now it already renders this UI and knows how to do it. Another cool thing is, because imagine this is a UI and you can build it the way you want, you see that the structure changed a bit here. Because now it's not anymore sol-USDC. Our post route is swap slash, let's ignore what it says. Let's say this is sol, and then it says /USDC. It does not say minus anymore or dash. It says slash, which is interesting. So the post route can be different. And therefore, it's very important that you look at the post routes if you play around with links. The other cool thing what I want to show you here is that you can already see it says SO111, which is basically the mint address of Sol. And this EPJ is the mint address of USDC. So what happened now is, in the background, our API already looked up the mint of the tokens and replaced them here in the post request, which is also actually a really cool thing if you think of it. So you can do very, very additional things with those endpoints if you start building them. Okay. In the next thing, what I wanted to show you, and this is the last one I want to show you, is our Lulo link. Why do I want to show you this? Well, yesterday, I think we released a video in which I showed you how you can build a withdraw link. And I think I also want to show you how this would work, for example, because I really want to show you 3 protocols that many of you might use, like staking. Yes, normally we stake, right? Swapping. Yes, we all love Jupiter. Of course, a Jupiter link has to be in this tutorial today. And then the third one is lending, and therefore I'm going to show you Lulo. If you want to know how to build this link, we have a YouTube tutorial right here. You can just click on it, and then it will open. The address, by the way, is lulo.dial.to, just that you know. And then you can see this tutorial, and you can go step by step through it and understand how to build this link. Also, we have here a few code, our GitHub repository. So if you want to just see the code, just click there. It will redirect you, and then you're good to go. For the Lulo link, you see here that the endpoint is API/actions/withdraw/USDC. So in this case, let's say we want to see what this link would give us back as well. So we say curl, and then we say HTTPS lulo.dial.to/API/actions/withdraw/USDC. I think this was the one. And then let's add a JQ as well. Boom. Yeah. And this is the blink. So the get blink. This is the UI, and this is how it's get built. Okay. Interesting thing about blinks is now that they don't just have a get. I think we now understand how the get part of the blinks work. So okay, I have a get request, I send it, it sends me back a JSON. This JSON can build this UI. I can also use this JSON to find out the post routes to understand where to send my post request, because the post request sends you back the transaction. So let's now see how you use such a blink. The UI itself is very straightforward, I would say. But let's say I want to withdraw 1 USDC. So in this case, I just say here 1. I say I click on the button, and it returned me a transaction that my wallet can use. And now I could withdraw 1 USDC from my Lulu balance if I would click on the confirm button. I don't have to know how Lulu works. I just need this link. So to understand how those posts work without this UI, so that you can use it also more or less in your backend in a headless way, we do the next step. So imagine again, we have our Cheeto blink, for example. Let's clear this up. Let's go again with our curl, and then we had our Cheeto blink from the example here. Let's take this URL again, just to make sure we have it right. Damn it. Okay, so here we have it. And now let's say you want to stake. For the staking part, we can just go for our post request here, because we want to finish this example. And actually, let's just for 1 sec that you understand a bit better. Let's first follow the tutorial and then do the rest. We don't need our client key here, but we need for sure a wallet address. So let me really quickly copy my address right here and replace the wallet address with that. Also edit JQ and say enter. And what we received here is now a transaction. So let's first of all go to what we did. I just wanted to make sure it works. Okay, so we have our curl again. Our curl goes to an endpoint. So we have our hrefs here. And what you can see until here, this is the 25%. So I think we could even just take the link from here and get the same result. Actually, let's just do it just to double check. So we are here, take this link, place it, and returns as a transaction. Boom. Okay. So what did we do? Again, we took the link from the post request, from the post endpoint, which is here called href. And we told it, okay, this is a post request, content type, application JSON, sure. And then we tell it in the data that it's a type transaction, and there is an account, and this is the account, which is the public key. And funny enough, this part here doesn't really change. It doesn't really matter what kind of blink you use. This part is more or less static. The only thing that changes with the blink is this URL right here. And what you can see as the answer is we have here the type transaction, but then we have a transaction, and this is like a full-blown transaction. So this is the thing it can just execute, which is kind of cool if you think of it, because this part makes our client, again, if we are here in our Blinks tutorial and we click on execute, it makes our client open this window and know that I want to withdraw 1 USDC. But now out of the sudden, I have this transaction here, and I can do with this transaction whatever I want, which is kind of cool if you think of it. The same thing works also with Jupyter. So let's say we go clear. We do again our curl command. We say we go to, where was our Jupyter? This one here. We want to solve USDC, should be our swap. And then let's take this whole structure, because again, I told you already, it works mostly the same. So let's copy paste the structure. Let's take jup.egg as URL. And then let's take, let's say we want to swap 0.1 sol. So let's take this part from the post request and just add it right here. And again, this part 0.1, 0.5, 1, and amount, you see that this is a structure. So I could also say I want to withdraw 120, I want to swap 123 sol against USDC. And let's see if it works. Yeah. Again, we say post. You see, the only thing that I changed here was this URL here. The rest I stayed as it was. And I have, again, a transaction here that I can just use and execute. I can sign it with the wallet. Very likely, I'm going to sign it with the wallet. But I mean, I can also use a CLI wallet, or I can use an AI agent to do this and all this cool stuff. And the same would work with Lulu again. So let's say we take Lulu. So we had curl, and then we had Lulu. This is going to be the last example for this. I think after this, it's clear how it works. We have lulu.dial.to. Then we had, I think, API actions. Let me see on my cheat sheet. Withdraw USDC. It gives us this thing back. Again, we copy paste this whole thing here. And then we replace the URL. We take lulu.dial.to. Damn it. Say https lulu.dial.to/api/withdraw/USDC/1. That's it. Boom. And there's a transaction again. And with that, I think you got a good idea how you can basically integrate a Blink into your app. So again, this could just be a fetch. So you don't really have to use any of our clients for that, but you can use those APIs to integrate like very natively a third-party service so that others just don't know, because your app can do fetches and it fetches the transaction, and then you can sign it with any wallet that you have. If you have a yeah, doesn't really matter what kind of wallet it is. I think this is the cool thing. But then again, we don't just have the option to do it via the CLI. We also have the option to use clients to make it nice. So I'm going to show you something now. It's something I cooked over the weekend. It's called Create Blinks app. And it's basically our scaffold. So the scaffold is a bit older, but the way, before you had to clone a GitHub repository on anything, now you just say npx create Blinks app. And it will immediately ask you what kind of scaffold you want. We say Solana here. We say live stream, for example. And then it will automatically download the latest template, will install all the dependencies for you so that you don't have to wire up everything from scratch. It comes with the wallet adapter. It comes with Next.js. It also comes with Tailwind CSS. So let's do a CD live stream and do a npm run dev. And then let's open it. Local 3000, nice. And then what you see here is our Blinks starter template. Okay, nothing special. It's a template. It contains a Blink. But we just learned how we can integrate Blinks, right? And this whole idea that we have here is we want to show you how you can integrate existing Blinks so that you don't have to do all this work for you all the time again. So let's just stick with our Lulu Blink. Let's open a cursor session and maybe make the font a bit bigger. And let's click on source. Sorry, this was wrong. And then page.tsx, because this is where we want to go. And then if we scroll down, you see here the Blink API URL. And this is pointing to our donate route on localhost. And this is what we see here. So now imagine we want to integrate this Lulu with Dropblink. How would we do it? Again, it is just a URL. So we have our Lulu Blink. We had it here. So dial.to API actions withdraw USDC. Let's copy this one. And let's just replace the link with this one here, right here. And let's say save. And if I go back, you now see that the client immediately saw, okay, this is a Blink URL. It rendered me the Lulu Blink. And again, if I want to say 1 USDC, I click on it. It's running on my local host. It says executing. It opens the transaction. And I am good to go. So I just integrated Lulu, I think, in less than 30 seconds using our scaffold and an existing Blink from Lulu. And this is a very, very powerful thing. So if you in the beginning, let's say if you are now in the hackathon and you plan to launch your token and you want to swap your token on your website, I know your first thought would be to do this whole thing with Lulu. With Jupiter. And yes, you should. But maybe you want to use the Jupiter Blink instead of learning all their APIs and how this whole stuff works. It will save you a ton of time and you can just, focus on the things that are really important for your hackathon. And then there is actually 2 more things that I want to show you. The first thing that I want to show you is the integration that Backpack built. And if I go to my Backpack, and sorry, I already had it open, but let's say I'm on my wallet here. I go to explore And then there is this tab called Blinks. And you can see here a list of blinks that already exist. And believe me, the integration is kind of the same what we just did. So if you click here on Cheeto, you say 25, 50%, 100%, it's the same image, it's the same blink, and it's all using the single URL. The same goes with Lulo. So if you click on it, you see 100, 200, 500, and the amount that you can type in. So it's a really, really nice way to unify those integrations with almost zero code. Now, it could also be that you want only integrate a button. And you can also do that. Because if you use our components, you click here, for example, and then we have those blinks. Blinks are full blinks, but we also have mini blinks. And mini blinks really are just those buttons. And it's super easy to integrate as well. So imagine you have a website and it ends, I don't know, maybe your blog post and you say, donate me an amount of USDC. You could do this with a donation blink and just use this little text input field. Or maybe you say it should send you $1 or so. The way it works is you just use one of those components from us in our SDK, the mini blink one in this case, and you tell it what's on the label. If it says donate, then when your label is called donate, and it will find this button and it will render it. So in the end, there is 3 kind of blinks that you can see. There is a full-fledged blink. There is only parts of a blink. So it really nicely fits into your website. So if you have a website and you just want the user to do something, but you don't want to use our full blink layout here that we have, you just want this one button that the user can use, this is your way to go. We have preview blinks. And one last bonus that I want to show you as well is I set AI agents 2 times already. So let's stick with our Lulu example. And let's go to an integration of an AI agent, so just that you understand how powerful this actually is. I always have to go to my stars because I forget how they are called. But let's do it for two of the most used, I would say. Let's start with the Goat SDK. So let's go to Goat here. And then I think it would be TypeScript. TypeScript, let me see on my cheat sheet, packages, plugins, and then let's scroll down to Lulo. And if you go here to the source folder and go to luluservice.ts, what you will see here is exactly what we just did with our command. Let me make the font a bit bigger. It truly is a fetch. It truly is a fetch that has an amount. The method is post, and it gives it as an account the wallet address. And then once you have it, all you have to do is you do .json, of course, and you sign the transaction. And that's it. Because you already have the transaction, all you have to do now is you sign it and you're done. And a similar thing happens with our Solana AI agent kit. So let's go again to my start repositories and let's go to Solana agent kit. And it's the same procedure. So let's go to source tools, I think it is. Yeah, looks good. Let's go to Lulo. And let's go to lend.ts. And again, it is the same schema. It is a fetch to the Lulo blink with a post. And it gives it here the wallet address. And here, I think, nice, it even updates the block hash, which is a cool thing. I would recommend you to do that, by the way. and then it basically sends the transaction and sends it back. So really, really easy. It's always a fetch. Always the fetch is a post with an account in it. The account is your public key. You get back a transaction. You sign the transaction. You're done. It's super, super fast and convenient. And I think it's not just Lulu who have it here. I think we could also see for, I think Solaya, they also use the Blink, I guess. Let's see. I haven't checked it. No, they don't. I think they used to. No idea. Anyways, doesn't really matter. I think my point here is clear. If you, and by the way, are participating at a hackathon, I wish you tons of luck and that you win the biggest prizes. Really think about building an API that is built in a Blink format, so it does not save you a lot of time. It also saves people who want to integrate you a lot of time. And yeah, that's been it for today for the integration. Let me quickly go back to StreamYard and see if we have any questions around this topic here. Blink AI says, hey, Blink AI. Yeah, no. So no questions so far. If you feel like something was not clear or you want something better explained, I'm Björn.Soul, and you can reach out to me on Twitter via DMs, or the best way to reach out is Telegram, because this is where I watch. This is what I overlook the most. And then we can talk. If you have a cool idea, we already started building the first teams, or let's say groups with teams that are participating on the hackathon. And if you feel you want to reach out, you want to have some support, something like that, we are always here for you. Also, on Twitter, we are at Say Dialect. So please give us a follow so that you don't miss our next episodes. We will have one more episode tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, we will stream twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday. If we get enough feedback from you guys, by the way, we will also maybe integrate you in our sessions, help you with your problems, discuss maybe a few ways how you can do something better, or maybe challenge your idea, if you will. Again, this idea that we have here is we truly want to support you and want to be there for you, because we know how stressful and hard hackathons can be. And you are grinding super, super hard, and sometimes you just don't know who to ask and from who you can learn. And yeah, we are super happy and super down to share our knowledge as good as we can. And with that said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope it helped you a bit. I hope you understand now how Blinks can help you, how they can benefit your project. And with that, I say thanks so much again. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us your questions, and then see you in the next one. Bye-bye, and thanks so much.